insurance. This is Tony Kanyas, and today I want to talk to you about the book Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi, a book that I read several years ago and I reread this year in order to make this video. This book has been crucial to the way that I handle building my network. Keith Ferrazzi is a big believer that success happens one relationship at a time, and having a personal network is a prerequisite for a successful career. We are all dependent on other people to achieve our goals for long-term success, and in order to get there, you have to learn to think interconnectedly. What is it that makes a network so important? Well, ultimately, your contacts open doors, and 56% of jobs are found through personal contacts. Very few jobs in comparison are found by just applying. Most jobs are found through personal contacts. This is even more important during times of economic trouble, where jobs are less available. He says that good networkers rarely have trouble finding work. So how do you build this great network? Well, you've got to keep three things in mind. You've got to always be friendly, generous, and helpful. If you are those three things, eventually it'll pay off. And he thinks of networking as a skill more than an aptitude, as a skill that anyone can learn. Okay, so the first part you need to learn to get over the fear of rejection. Ultimately, the worst thing that can happen when you approach somebody and try to create a connection is a polite no thank you. Nothing to be afraid of. And most people are very, very accepting of attempts to get to know them, as long as they're done sincerely and well. One way that he suggests is find somebody who is excellent at networking and take notes. Let yourself be inspired by them. In my own life, I have met at conferences several people who are great at networking, and I do my best to learn from them. So I absolutely follow what he said here. Ultimately, networking as a skill set can be systematically improved. He recommends courses on communications and rhetoric, and of course, lots and lots of practice. And he also recommends setting a goal. If you are super uncomfortable with the idea of building a network, he recommends starting by setting yourself a goal of getting to know one new person a week, so that little by little you can start building that network. The author's father is a great example of how a network can really change somebody's life. He was a laborer, and he wanted a better life for his only son. So he reached out to the company CEO where he worked, and the CEO was so impressed by his guts in reaching out all the way to the top, and so impressed that he helped Keith, the author, get a scholarship at a prep school. Keith's life radically changed from there. Successful networking is based on generosity and loyalty. Ask, how can I help others, rather than how can others help me? And even if you're starting out, you have something that you can help others with. Even if you're starting out, you have time, which others might not have. Your time is less valuable, and thus you can use it in ways that others might not be able to use it. And you can help others, even if you're just getting started. The more ready you are to help others, the more ready they will be to help you in return. And generosity builds trust and mutual understanding. It cements and deepens your relationships with others. You should see every relationship as a long-term investment. And I'm not a huge fan of putting it this way. The way I like to see it is don't keep count. Give to your network, don't keep count. In the long term, your network will give back to you 2 to 3 times or more than what you put in. My little free micro-mentoring service, chatwithtony.com, is a great example. Each time somebody grabs time with Chat with Tony, I end up devoting a half an hour of my life, and each half an hour might create a lifelong relationship. How's that for return on investment? Like 1.5 hours might end up paying back for the rest of my life. Even better is when I'm getting in on the ground floor. If I'm getting in front of like students just starting in insurance, even better are my majors who are likely to become big names in the industry, and they will forever remember me for giving them advice early on in their careers to help them grow even faster. It's an absolute win-win. This is huge. A good networker builds the network before they need it. Many people make the mistake of not building it until they need it. This is, from my perspective, not Keith's perspective, from my perspective, the exact same thing as trying to buy insurance after a loss has already happened. The time to build your network is before you need it, and it takes patience. It builds a little bit of time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So he talks about relationship glue. How to build relationship glue. Well, it's not how much time you spend with people, it's the quality of the time that you spend with people. It's how you spend the time with people. When you do get in front of somebody, whether they're above you in the company or in the industry, whether below you or peers, give them your full attention. Don't be distracted by your phone. I've done this many times. Not a good idea. Be genuinely interested in them. Finally, what you're trying to do during those few minutes you have with with them is find something that you're both interested in. Now you have something to connect on forever, basically. Or find a commonality in your background. Again, something great to connect on. Also, he talks about how to be a good conversation partner. Don't make small talk. Small talk is basically talking about the weather and other useless things like that. Instead of making small talk, be attentive, open, and honest, and share interesting stuff instead. So how do you learn interesting stuff in order to be able to share it? Well, you read. Read. That's the easiest way. Read and learn all sorts of interesting stuff so that you have a large arsenal of interesting stuff to bring up related to whatever this person happens to be interested in. Always have something interesting to say, basically. He recommends to find the super connectors. So what are super connectors? People who have thousands of contacts, preferably among many industries. I'm a super connector, but mostly within insurance. Also, he talks about this concept of the blue flame. So blue flame is the intersection of where your passions meet your skills. Once you find your blue flame, you will know what type of work you want, and if you find a job that allows you to continue building and taking advantage and enjoying your blue flame each day, that is the definition of bliss, the definition of flow, basically. I'm a perfect example of this. I have a job that I love that allows me to engage in my passion for insurance and insurance careers every day. He recommends a very structured networking action plan, or NAP. And basically, once you have an idea of your long-term goals, you can achieve those by creating a clear to-do list and developing short, middle, and long-term goals. And it looks something like this. Where do I want to be in 3 years? Okay, so in order to be there in 3 years, how do I get there? Well, what needs to happen this year? What needs to happen every 3 months? What needs to happen every quarter in order to make that happen? And finally, who can help me make that happen? And you start that process of reaching out to those who. Finally, he talks, the last couple chapters talks about how to become your own brand. And of course, the one day I'm not wearing a superhero shirt is when I'm talking about branding, but how to become your own brand. And finally, he talks about the importance of mentoring and coaching, both in getting mentors and coaches and in becoming a mentor to others who are earlier on the path than you are. There is a lot of great info in this book. I just gave you a very quick summary of the things that he touches on, but he gives a lot of meat and a lot of really interesting stories to really help you understand each of the points that he makes. Highly recommend reading it. It's been a book that has been big change. It's created a big change in my life, and it's helped me build this wonderful network that I can now benefit from, and you can benefit from by connecting with me and building that connection. I hope this was helpful. Highly recommend Never Eat Alone by Kit Ferrazzi.